So it's happening. Well, actually, no, it's already happened. Our Blue Collar Wealth studio was upgraded this past month with a little help from our friends and with a bunch of elbow grease from some of us here at Stonehouse. I am so wicked excited to show you some of the changes, our new look, but even more excited to tell you why we did what we did. And spoiler alert, it has to do with all of you. Let's go. Well, here it is. Welcome to our new and expanded studio. Now, for those of you who have been following our growth for years now, you're well aware that every once in a while we upgrade. And this one was well overdue, trust me. But in the past, our upgrades were usually driven by me. That's right. Much like I love remodeling my home room by room, as painful as that is, I love the changing this studio and adding this and that along the way. But this upgrade we just did this past month was driven by you. That's right. You see, we built Stonehouse years ago from scratch, and that wasn't an easy hill to climb. In fact, it was one of the most challenging things I've ever done in my life. Let's just say that for the first 5 years of my career, I did what I was supposed to do. I learned the rules and regulations about finance. I learned how large companies encourage people to invest or buy into their products. I began to see the conflicts between what was good for those companies, for my clients, and even for me. And with that real life experience came wisdom, and eventually came action. My business partner, Scott, well, he and we took a huge risk doing this. We noticed that our industry kept saying that it was all about the clients, yet the clients seemed to always be at the end of the decision-making, not the beginning. And so we decided to flip that whole thing upside down and start listening to our clients first. Crazy concept, right? What do they want? What do they need help with? And that has made all the difference in our lives and in our careers. Now, don't get me wrong. It's been an enormous undertaking. And maybe someday I'll do a video, with more gritty details and backstory. But for now, just know that we took that reset from where we started, just the two of us managing about $10 million for a small number of households, to today, as of March 1st, 2024, managing around $565 million for 860 households, families, businesses. My favorite part about all that is I get to do that each day with a team of about 20 people who I love working with, and with another team at Stonehouse Accounting. Altogether, the difference maker for us was we stopped telling people what they should do and first started listening to what they needed. So that brings me right back to here, to this studio. It's almost exactly 4 years ago today that I did our very first podcast. I had no idea what I was doing. I watched some YouTube videos, bought a camera, a couple microphones, some lights, and then I asked one of the most interesting people I knew at the time, Bill Rourke. And I said, Bill, this country and the world at that time was shut down, and it's driving me nuts. I'm just tired of all the gloom and doom. I want to produce something positive for people, and I think you're a wicked interesting guy. Most people will never get a chance to have a long conversation with you, but if you let me record a conversation like that, we'll give them a chance to do that. What do you say? And true to form, Bill's answer was instantly, yeah, sure. And within a few days, my son and I packed up our equipment, which we barely knew how to use, by the way, and met Bill on location at one of his businesses, and boom, our first episode. And, as we're now coming up on the 100th episode, it's a perfect time to reflect on how cool it's been to chat with some amazing people, share their stories and life experiences with you, and introduce you to some of the amazing people I have the privilege to work alongside every day. Pull back the curtain on some of the things that we do with our portfolios and our financial planning for our clients, and a whole lot more. But maybe most importantly, it's a fantastic time and only appropriate to once again listen to you, our clients, and to the many of you who are not clients but still follow us on social media, watching on our sites through Vimeo, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, and other platforms. Video has definitely been a great way for us to get our message out to you quickly and efficiently. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this is all part of why we decided to upgrade the studio. And let me show you the studio. Here's where our old clunky conference table used to sit. It was great for one-on-one conversations, but got pretty cumbersome for 3 or 4 people at a time. Now we have individual seating for 4 people and can go up 5 or 6 if we need to. We've added seating, lighting, microphones, and other miscellaneous items. We also have a separate section now dedicated for more one-on-one conversations, or even enough room for 2 guests at a time if we need that. There are other things as well, which I'll keep off camera for now. Got to leave something right to mystery. But before I go any further, I mentioned that we had a little help from our friends, and I need to give a ton of credit to Julie and Karen from Chippy White Table. Those girls are incredible. Julie's already been a guest on our podcast, and I had her on because what they're doing with Chippy White Table for weddings, for special events, and even right in their store on Main Street in Tunkhannock, PA, it's absolutely amazing. I called them up about a month ago, and I said, hey, can you guys chipify our studio without making it look like a girl's dream wedding? And let me tell you, they came through in a big way. It's not something that they usually do with podcast studios, but the ideas they gave me were awesome. And suddenly I had a bunch of slides and ideas and variations and settings to consider. It got my mind thinking in different directions. And to their credit, and to stick to the theme of this whole video, they spent their first visit just listening to what we're trying to do within this space. And then they put their ideas together for me to review. Now, the finished product is a perfect combination of their creativity alongside the function that we needed in a studio like this. And they stopped by earlier today, by the way, to see the finished studio for the first time, and I convinced them to cop a squat on the couch there and answer some questions on camera. So I'll add that bonus footage to the end of this video in a minute or two. But if you're looking for someone to work with alongside of you in a fun and enjoyable way, planning your wedding or whatever your event is, check out the Chippy White Table team. You will not regret it. With such a great place to talk with folks, we need to fill up this room, this studio, with great conversations. I'm really excited about some things that we have coming up. In the next couple of weeks, just alone, I'll be joined by a whole panel of people talking about small business and focusing on a big dilemma that many entrepreneurs are faced with these days, which is what happens to my business when I want to exit or transition to someone else. Whether you have a couple of $100,000 of revenue and maybe 1 or 2 people in your company, or you have millions of dollars of revenues and over 100 people in your company, all of it is important to you. And you only get typically one shot at it. So we're going to have some very experienced and very credible advisors in on that conversation. For example, Bob McCormack, managing partner at Murphy McCormack Capital Advisors. Bob's going to be talking about how to value your business. Things are important. Attorney Paul Rushton, managing partner at Rosen, Jenkins, and Greenwald, coming at it from the legal perspective and what needs to be in place before, during, and after such a time. Ben DeNault, CPA, our CEO of our Stonehouse tax business and municipal accounting. Ben's going to be looking at it from a tax angle. Uncle Sam will surely be dipping into your pocket during that transition. So Ben will help keep an eye on things. And then Scott Stone, one of my partners at Stonehouse Investment Management. Scott's going to be looking at it from all those angles and figuring out how these items collectively work together to ensure that the things in your life, the financial things, remain in balance, both before and after such a transaction or a transition. Now, last but maybe the most important part, thanks to your feedback over the past year or so, we understand that you love a lot of the content we've put out here. Quarterly updates that John Burke and I do, seeing different views and thoughts from different guests, the variety of topics that we cover, like personal finance, small business ownership, royalty ownership, taxes, fun stuff too, like stories from our clients about their retirement, about their life experiences. And from what we're hearing now, we understand that you want more of that, and even stuff that we haven't done up to this point. Well, how about a little help from you? That'd be great. We've placed a nice, quick, and easy form on our site for you to tell us what you'd like to hear more about. Go to this link that you see on the screen now and just tell us who you are, I should say, and tell us what you'd like to learn more about. Is there a specific question you'd like answered? How about a topic that you'd really like to hear more information about and have some guests in? Speaking of guests, Are there guests that you'd like to recommend and see on the podcast? Please go to that link. Help us make this podcast as helpful as possible. Let us hear your voice. These first 100 episodes that we did were a blast, trust me. They really were. But let's make the next 100 episodes even better and focused on the things that are important to you. Now let's go. I mean, this is really officially the first video in the new pad.
Oh, that's cool.
That's exciting.
You guys are a huge part of this. So thank you very much.
Yeah. Our pleasure.
I said in my earlier video, I was talking about some things that made a difference in our business is that we actually turned what I grew up in the industry was telling clients what they want instead of listening to what they need first. Yeah. And I thought one of the things that really impressed me is you came in and you're like, well, we're not really podcast studio developers or designers, but what are you looking to do? And you just asked some questions. We told you what we needed and you came up with ideas. And it was
fun.
We tried. Yeah.
It was fun. You made it really easy and you did make it really fun.
Yeah.
Good.
Now, when you guys do weddings and everything, is it that easy?
I would say like probably for the most part, because I feel like when you're like passionate about something, then the ideas come naturally, I mean, there's always going to be one client that's like a little bit tough to meet their needs, maybe a little bit pickier than others, but that usually doesn't stop us from trying to come up with something, because then it's like a challenge. So they're like, okay, we're gonna make her happy. That's our goal, to make her happy. But
was I easier than working with a bride?
Well,
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, we can't say that on camera.
Say that. So thank you for your
All of our brides are wonderful.
It was a much more compact process, because usually it's like a 2-year process with the bride and you're in and out in a week. So.
Yeah, plus they think they picture their whole life up to that moment.
Yes.
It took me like 2 weeks. I said, I got to call somebody. But you know what you did? You broke me out of, you kind of get in that trend, that rut.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I just love doing this. But, after a while, you just kind of need to reinvent it. Now I'm so excited that we're going to get a lot of good people like yourselves in here talk about it. So you've already been, we did a longer podcast
in the old studio.
Old days. Feels like a prison now. But, I liked it at the time. But
no, it was fun.
How long have you guys been working together?
It'll be 7 years this July. Yep.
Okay.
2018.
Is it
something like that?
2 days a week, 7 days a week?
Both.
It just depends on the time of year, because we're kind of in our off season right now for events and setting things up. So this time of year, we probably see each other like 5 days a week, and then once we get rolling, it's 7 days usually. We do try to take a day off though.
At least one day off.
Yeah, we have been getting better at that. At least one day.
But we don't work like a full 9-hour work day because we have the kids and stuff. So we try to make it like a 3 to 4 hour work day. We're done. And then we do it again
during
next day.
The week. And then on the weekends it's longer.
Now with the studio here, you gave me a nice slides and everything like that. And I just got to sit there and look at them and play around with the different things. It really was sparked all kinds of ideas.
Sure.
Do you guys, is that kind of how you work with brides when you're working on planning out their wedding reception?
Pretty much. Like for the most part, we just ask them for their Pinterest board usually first off. So most brides already have those going.
Should I have had a Pinterest board? I'm so sorry.
No. But just for wedding stuff, it helps give us an idea of what aesthetic they're going for, because it's hard. People might say, oh, I want like a bohemian style wedding, but that could be different definition to different people. So we ask them to give us like a visual reference. And then after they do that, if their style like kind of fits within our wheelhouse, I'll be like, okay, we can definitely help you. So the next step in the process is coming into our showroom and browsing our collection, doing a little mock table setup, showing them some stuff of what we can do. And if they're like, yeah, we love all this, then I put a quote together and it'll show everything, all of our ideas and stuff that we put together for them.
Yeah.
So
that's fantastic.
It's a good process. And it gets people excited. I think also like when they come into the showroom to be able to see things and put their hands on things and be like, wow, this, candlestick is so special. But
it
like,
matters.
it matters.
Seeing it in person matters.
It does,
Even to the point where the one time we had candles that were like half bleached in the window that were like pink candlesticks. And the one bride was like, I love that. And so we're out there bleaching candlesticks in the sun because she wanted that look.
She wanted that bleached look. We're like,
they were pink, but then they were like ombre, kind of peach to pink. So yeah. But it looked great.
But it's cool.
You know what I love about this story with you guys, and that's why we had you on in the first place, is just like that entrepreneurial spirit. And you guys, it's really about listening to what your customers, your clients want.
Yeah.
And it's about adapting and just, I'll figure a way how to do it. Right?
Yeah, that's what we always say.
It does rob you from your personal time, but if you start to get a groove on, and you guys really have, I think there's a heck of a demand. I mean, you guys seem so busy all the time.
Yeah, we are busy. I think that, it's been really great, just like the growing process of the business, you know, just kind of starting off small and then just growing it, letting it grow like growing organically.
Speaking of growing, tell me about, is it okay to talk about your project?
Sure.
Yeah, so tell us about that. There's a lot of people like, what's going on?
Slow and steady process right now. But when you buy an abandoned building, you have all these hopes and dreams that you're going to like snap your fingers and it's going to become what you
Well, that's the way it works out on HGTV and all that stuff.
Right. Yeah. It's like instant gratification, but it's not been that way. I mean, it's coming together, but we do have our first wedding ceremony in there on August 12th. Yep. So that's our finish line date as of right now.
So it has to happen.
So it has to happen by August 12th. Yeah, the Chippy Chapel.
Yes.
Yeah. So flooring is going in as we speak. So we got someone local to do hemlock floor, like rough cut.
Nice.
Yeah, well, tongue and groove. Yeah, hemlock flooring. So that's going in. That's been going in all month. So we're getting there.
Yeah.
We have lighting. We have like places to hang sconces and places to hang lights. We just don't have them yet. Electric is in. So it's really cool. It's going to be just a small venue for like 50 people or less. So it could be weddings is kind of what we're gearing toward because we have so much wedding stuff already.
Sure.
Birthday parties, bridal showers, baby showers, reunions, yoga retreats, like anything like that. Yeah.
Really?
So I mean, it's just a big wide open building, you know, that has some really cool character and charm. So that's the goal.
It just never ceases to amaze me. You're part of that elite group in my mind. I can look at something and just envision like with a little bit of love and a lot of elbow grease, and I'm thinking that's like my mom.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my
like
dad
that?
used to put her dreams together for her, or at least part of the way.
Yeah.
And I try to do that too, but just when you start going through the studio and just some basic stuff here, and this is basic compared to the stuff you guys are doing every day.
Yeah.
But it made a huge difference to me, and it's the stuff I lack. You know, I grew up, my mom's an artist, but I'm a stick figure drawer and stuff like that. For you guys to do it. And by the way, the links you gave, like the couch you're sitting on, like is a link. I mean, a lot of the stuff in our studio, it came from you guys. And I think you put some extra hours in.
It was mostly Karen.
Thank you, Karen.
She guts out the design work for these types of projects. Her attention span's a little bit longer than mine for the most part. So.
It's the obsessiveness about it.
She has the more obsessive attention to detail brain than I do. I'm kind of like the big visionary, like I know we can do this and I know what it'll look like, but she gets down to the nitty gritty and finds those links and does the measurements and puts everything to scale. So that's why we make a good team.
Dynamic duo, that makes a difference.
We have does all the brain work with the communication.
That's like kind of my
where I am not great at the communications.
You are. You just don't want to do it.
That's cool. When you have teammates, right? Instead of saying I need to get better at it, you just say you handle it. I'll stay good at what I'm good at.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's what makes it. What makes it work when everyone's doing what they're comfortable doing for the most part day to day. You know.
So, quick question: Will you you design any more podcast studios?
Depends on the time of year and who's asking.
Nice.
Good answer.
That's a fair answer. Okay.
No, we wouldn't say no.
Second question is, what if people want to watch a Chippy White Table podcast?
We want to do it. So we're hoping to come over and you can give us some tips and tricks.
Well, you can chippify the studio each time you want to come over.
Yeah, we'll just swap out a few props.
Do a trade service.
Yeah.
That's fine with me. That's fine. You deserve it.
But we do want to, I actually just said that to Mark yesterday. I was like, I really want to do a podcast. So hoping to get that set up this year.
It would be fun.
Especially with the chapel. Like it'd be so cool to talk about like our process and what we're going through up there. Like people love a good renovation.
I think it'd be fun for you guys to get some footage of commentary from the brides and grooms that you've helped.
And like just random questions that people have about things that like we get questions all the time, like what do you do about this, what do you do about this, and like putting that information out there where brides can't really get it from, because we're a boutique rental company, like people don't really know what we do all the time.
That's
and so it's like regular rental companies, people might go and they're like, okay, I pick this. They come to us and they're like, well, why don't you have 30 tables for me? It's like, we don't do that. We're specialty. So like there's so many more questions.
So it's a good idea. We got to get on top of that.
On that question though, so real quick, did you I got married once, and it was a long time ago. To the right girl, by the way. Do you guys, what's a perfect timeline for somebody thinking about their wedding? When do they reach out to you and say, hey, here's what I'm kind of thinking? Is it can they wait too late or start way too early?
I mean, it goes across the board. Like some people are 2 years ahead. You know, like I just booked a wedding for November 2025 the other day. So that's like pretty far away from now, you know? But like most of the time it's a year out. That's the most common time. A year out.
Especially for our stuff, because like our inventory changes all the time. You know?
So between like a year and a half, 6 months. That's usually when we get it. We do get a couple last minute requests, so.
And my last question is there ever a groom that reaches out and does the
Sometimes, every once in a while. Not often, but sometimes.
All right, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't out of the loop on that one.
No, it is. We definitely speak
sometimes
more
it's a red flag, but other time,
No comment. All right, we'll leave that. What else? Is there anything else going on you want the world to know? Or not that we're broadcasting.
That's nice of you to ask. No, we're just gearing up for the next season. Like this time of year, we do inventory, so we count all of our things, which is a big project.
Nice.
The girls graciously did that while I was away for 2 weeks. So I got to opt out of that this year.
Well, no, Aubrey did. Shout out to Aubrey.
One of our other girls. So
we get to sit back and just enter it in.
We do a lot of behind the scenes work like this time of year before we still get rolling when the weather breaks. But no like huge things in the works besides the chapel. That's going to take most of our focus.
I would think so.
Excited. We're trying to ignore the fact that we have to fulfill all the weddings and also do the chapel. It's like, yay, chapel year, but also
we still have to work a lot.
We have to work every day to do weddings too, so it's fine.
But it all will work out.
And so you're working a lot on the weekends too, right? Because right
it's
after the wedding, you're
that's our work week is like Thursday to Monday.
Just like that.
We're like, because we're not like mentally there yet. We're like, it's coming. It's coming. We're still in
Christmas
break
just
mode.
ended last week.
That's what we feel like.
Well, I just wanted to say before we end things that like I love living in Tunkhannock. And I hear a lot of good things. You know, we had our our Christmas office party. You opened up your doors. We had a nice thing there. That was fun. And it's just like you make that a very flexible space. You guys are doing all kinds of holiday pictures and things like that. People love going down there and getting their pictures taken. It's been like a good pulse of Tunkhannock. You know what I mean? Like you bring good vibes to the town.
Thank you.
It's one of the few stores that people say, oh, I know right where that is, or I love that place and things like that. So
even I drive by and I'm still like, oh.
I mean, every night you go, it's dark at like 4:30 in Tunkhannock this time of year, right? But you drive up Main Street and there's your window all lit up. It makes you feel warm and fuzzy.
Thank you. We appreciate that. We try. We try to be a positive light in all that we can.
Good.
Good.
Well, you made our studio rock.
Well,
and,
thank you for letting us do it.
I'll probably ask you again for the next version, but hopefully it'll be a year or two out.
At least a year.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bob.
Thanks.